This is Steve from Ergonomics, and I'm here to talk to you today about the 2022 Kawasaki Z400. I've had this bike for about 6 months, and I wanted to talk to you a little bit about some of the things that I like, some of the things I don't like, and walk you through some of the features today. So let's get into it. Starting from the back, you've got the LED tail lights, the blinkers, the license plate holder, which most people will do the fender eliminator. You've got the rear sets, the clutch down here. It's an assisted and slipper clutch. So if we come along the side here, this is the slipper clutch. So coming up to the front here, you got the mirrors, horn, blinkers, headlights. On the other side of this is the flashers, your clutch. This clutch is very light, and you know, when you try and find the area where it catches, it's very hard to feel. So what a lot of people do is they'll replace the springs in the clutch so they can feel the friction zone a little better. So I have the quad lock mount here. You've got an LED screen with a 12,000 RPM red line. Moving over to this side, you've got the start stop, the electronic start, and then your brake lever. So then if we move over to the other side here, you got the exhaust, which most people will replace. I'm going to replace it. I haven't decided which one to replace yet. I did get a little scratch here from when I moved from California out to Utah. Putting it in the trailer, it was up against a wall and got scratched there. You got your brakes, oil fill, you've got the glass sight for the oil, so you can see the oil levels, but just know that you do have to have the bike upright to be able to see the oil level. And then you've got your radiator and coolant tank here. You have your single disc Nissan brakes with ABS. This little disc here is the ABS. In the rear, you have the same thing, single disc ABS in the rear. We start it up. You've got your coolant level, or the heat temperature, coolant temperature. You've got your gas, which I need to get gas, your range, your tach, and then you can cycle through time, miles per gallon, average miles per gallon, and the range. The range doesn't show right now because it's not moving, it's not on. And then you've got your trip modes on there. All right, so let's start it up, see what it sounds like. So this is the stock exhaust. You give it a little gas. It does have a little bit of a whine to it. When you give it a little gas, you can hear that. The kind of high-pitched whine. But overall it sounds okay. What I have noticed about it though is at speeds above like 50 miles an hour, when you're on the bike with a helmet on, with earplugs in, the exhaust is hard to hear. So at some point I'll be switching that out just for my own, not safety, but for my own comfort, so that I know where the engine is without having to constantly look at the RPMs, so I know when to shift. So I'll walk you around to the front and I'll show you what I did to the front of the bike. So this is a windscreen that I built. The windscreen that comes with it is really just a cover that comes up to about here, and it gives you zero wind protection. So I built this, took a piece of Lexan, and I took the plate that was on it and kind of traced around the general shape of it, and then I traced that onto a piece of cardboard, placed it on the Lexan, kind of extended it up about 5 inches, just so that I get a little bit more wind deflection over my head. So before I put this on, the wind was coming up straight onto my helmet, straight onto my chest, and it was really tiring on the highways. So I put this on, now I get much better wind deflection, certainly around my chest. Still hits me in the shoulders a little bit, but definitely around my chest and around my head. It feels a lot better at higher speeds. So I took the cardboard, traced it onto a piece of Lexan, cut it out with a jigsaw, and then I shaped it by applying heat from a heat gun and bent it over a bucket that had a similar radius to what it was here on the original plate, and then just kept kind of bending it and tweaking it to where I liked it. Traced where the holes were, drilled it in, and then painted it with some spray-on tint, which came out okay. I'm not 100% happy with it, but you know, it works. But yeah, it works great. It's very sturdy. I've had some rocks hit it, which it's done great. This Lexan is what they use in like NASCAR windshields and things like that, so it's pretty sturdy stuff. Make sure you get the one that's a little thicker. Don't get the thinnest stuff you can buy. And I would buy the name brand Lexan, not a knockoff piece. So if you come back here, you can see it's a pretty upright seating position. I'm 5'10", and so I can flat foot this pretty easily. You can still see there's a pretty good bend in my legs, flat footed. The seat definitely is sloped forward a little bit, which when you're riding, you end up riding like this. So I do have to keep pushing myself back when I ride. You can see when I have my legs up, there's a good bend to the knees, and you can get into a pretty good crouch position here with it. Definitely maybe a little small for someone over 6 feet. Like I said, I'm 5'10", and it fits me pretty good. I would say anyone from around 5 foot to 6 feet would do just fine. And at 5 feet, you may be, you know, on your tippy toes, but this bike is so light that I think you're fine. So it's a great bike, and the ergonomics are pretty good. The suspension is pretty good. Yeah, and it works great.